Earth my body, water my blood, air my breath, and fire my spirit. Earth my body, water my blood, air my breath, and fire my spirit. I like to sing to the earth, I like to hold her. She likes to sing to me, she likes to hold me. I like to sing to the earth, I like to hold her. She likes to sing to me, she likes to hold me. I carry fistfuls of leaves. I make love to the breeze. I carry fistfuls of bones. I trust they will lead me home. I carry grief on my wings. I know I caged birds sing. Through many turns of this moon, my women have suffered wounds, but my grandmother's with me. Close your eyes, can't you see? And my grandchildren are here, the rose, the crow, and the deer. I am surrounded by light, the light of stories. I need to quiet my mind, I need to listen. We are surrounded by light, the light of stories. We need to quiet our minds, we need to listen. Earth my body, water my body, air my breath, and fire my spirit. Earth my body, water my spirit. Earth my body, earth my body, water my blood, air my breath, and fire my spirit.
All yours, Susan.
Thank you, Rodney. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Wind Voices 2021. I want to thank you all for being here. I want to express my gratitude for all the different speakers that we've had throughout the year who've been able to come and share with us, and especially today to John Glass. I want to begin by saying that we are the River Sidon Peace with Justice Project. We are the fiscal agent for Grandmother's Circle the Earth, and we are presenting these Wind Voice series of talks for the express purpose of being able to share and record things of our elders and our wisdom keepers. None of this has been random, as Rodney and I can say. Many of you I see on the call today are with us every Sunday. Hi, Connie and Holly and Dan and everybody that's there. And we know from our very first speaker, Hukum Elizabeth Babin, that she was actually the one that launched us in December. And then after she gave us these beautiful and extremely powerful teachings on the Star Lodge, and you can access that at Wind Voices 2021 on Facebook or on the our website. After she gave us those beautiful teachings, Elizabeth went home, and her Star Lodge is being presented this month in Mexico. And they keep going and going and going and going, just as her teachings do, just as they keep resonating for us by our ability to access them. And that's the whole purpose of why we're doing what we're doing. So I wasn't going to say anything, but as I lit my sage, felt prompted. I would like to ask just for a moment of silence. About an hour ago, my husband's dear friend, who's a Vietnam veteran and has been sick from the Agent Orange that he was exposed to during that Vietnam War, crossed over to the other side as well. And he was a beautiful man involved with all of the different Native things that are happening in our area. And I know that so many people are going to the other side. And when I was at Cahokia one day doing a pipe ceremony with about 20, 25 other Native people, I had a vision in our grandmother Crystal of a canoe going down a river. And later I shared that vision and what I had seen. And Elizabeth told me and everyone that that was the spirit canoe and that it was coming to pick up our elders and to take them to the other side, because there are so many things that we'll be doing that we need their help. And so as above, so below, we pin heaven and earth with our faith, with our ceremonies, with our prayers and our songs. So I'd just like to take a moment of just silence, if we could think about all of those who have gone before and all of those faces that are yet to be born. And then in all of that, between heaven and earth are us. And those of us who walk as two-leggeds, those of us who walk beside the four-leggeds and the winged ones, beside the wind and the trees and the waters. I dedicate this next moment to them, all of them, and to all of us. Rodney, when we're done, it's yours.
I'm going to do an opening prayer, and I'm going to introduce John with his bio. Father Sky, Mother Earth, all our ancestors, all our relatives, we thank you once again for allowing us to step inside this most sacred circle. We thank you, Creator, for the ability to step within this circle, as we see many of our elders are transitioning and don't have this opportunity, and we are grateful and we thank you. May our work bring joy to your eyes. May our walk bring joy to your heart. May we work in such a way that our ancestors are proud, and that this transition is for, this is our destiny, and we thank you for this opportunity to work with our ancestors on both the other side and this side. Please be with us today. Please be with us as we hear this message from John. Please fill our hearts with healing and courage and strength. We love you and we thank you. And with that, I say, aho. I'm going to read John's bio now. A little somber way of starting. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to our 38th of 52 lessons from our elders and wisdom keepers. Today, we are blessed with the teachings of John T. Glass. John T. Glass was born on December 14th, 1964 in Claremore, Oklahoma. From his mother's side, his bloodline is from the Yakama Nation. The longhouse of his mother's people is known as the Seven Drum Region. They teach that when the 7 sacred songs are sung, the return of Creator's Son is at hand. From his father's side, his bloodline is from the Cherokee Nation. Within the Cherokee people, there are 7 clans named. Following his paternal grandmother, John would be considered a member of the Wild Potato Clan, whom they say is closest to Mother Earth. John's parents met at a US government-run boarding school known simply as Chilocco. John is named after his paternal grandfather, John Taylor Glass. John is the firstborn of his siblings, as well as the first grandchild. John was raised in Kansas, Oklahoma, where he studied public schools from grades kindergarten through the 12th grade, graduating in the year 1983. He was also introduced into the faith of the Cherokee Southern Baptist by his grandparents during his childhood years. John also attended several institutions of higher education after completing high school. He has been at the University of Oklahoma, Northeastern State University, and John Brown University, accumulating approximately 2 years of college credits in general education study. He dropped out of college to begin working full-time to support his growing family. John started dating Angela Green in the summer of 1983 after experiencing the loss of his grandmother due to cancer. On Christmas Day, 1983, John and Angie made their wedding vows to one another before God and their families. That was 37 years ago and still counting. Creator blessed John and Angie as they have walked together with a son and 3 daughters. They raised their children in Tahlequah, Oklahoma, where they still reside today. On June 14th, 2020, their youngest daughter, Lauren Michelle Glass, was called home by Creator at 31 years of age. On May 6, 2021, their firstborn and only son, Jonathan Ray Glass, was also called home by Creator at 36 years of age. John and Angie are currently raising their 9-year-old granddaughter, whose name is Kaylee Sue Lynn Glass. John has been driving professionally as a truck driver for over 26 years. His travels have taken him through all 48 states, many miles, and many places. John currently drives for Walmart out of a distribution center hauling grocery located near Bartlesville, Oklahoma. He recently celebrated his 7-year anniversary hire date with Walmart. John considers himself, as some would call it, a quote-unquote red apple. No disrespect intended, he says. For John has grown up non-traditional, being of Yakima Cherokee descent. Both of his parents are full-bloods of each respective tribe. Creator has placed John on this path of the soul for reason and purpose. With no knowledge of the spoken language of his parents, no traditions, no cultural teachings, and nothing considered indigenous to his ancestry, Creator, aka God, opened John up late in his life. So what is being presented today? As a young elder, John will be presenting a short story of his that has been published. Next, he will be sharing with us what he calls the vision of the first mother, which has brought forth a very important teaching that is called Our True Grandparents. And finally, John will speak of what he brings forth out of all of this as a means to encourage humankind to change their thoughts, words, and deeds so that the future will change for the positive as a whole. Thank you, John, for all you do. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Rodney. Thank you, Susan, and welcome everybody who's here. It's an honor, quite an honor given, for I had met Susan at the first 2019 elders gathering they had in Nauvoo, and that woman has a lot of irons in the fire. I had to keep up just to catch her. I was a last minute addition, and I got to meet with her briefly, introduce myself, and came back home. But along the way, she and I had communicated. I had submitted writings, recordings, just to get her take, because many years back, I had a vision. Creator had given me a vision that there was a woman in the future who would be helping get this work out that I was sent to do. So on that note, I will go ahead and begin with the short story as Rodney had mentioned. And I'm going to hold up the book briefly to show the cover that my daughter, she had done the illustration for this, and it was from a Cherokee Humanities course that she had done. And she told me, she says, "Daddy, they're taking submissions for short stories." She said, "You going to submit one?" I said, "Sure." So I submitted it. They read it, and there's quite a few authors, poems, and historical perspectives that were presented in that book, and I was honored to get published amongst one of them. But this segment today is the first part where I will read this short story, and then the second part I will bring the vision, and it'll be more casual. So just sit back. The music that I'm about to add into this, behind this story, is from a lessons series, and the music is by Albert Gray Eagle, a Cheyenne Arapaho who is a very, very good friend. I call him brother, but he's a Vietnam vet. He's had to deal with pancreatic cancer and many things in his life, and he's living in Colorado right now. But he was one of the first people to encourage me to go forth and start writing and doing more for what I was sent to do and all. So let's begin with that part. I'll get this music queued up and we'll begin with the story. Time for understanding. It is time. These words were heard in Medicine Man's heart and ears in the period of his life when he was 40 summers of age. The Great Spirit had brought to him many visions and taught him many lessons along the way. When Medicine Man was 19 summers in age, Creator had brought into his life the soulmate who would become his greatest help. Angel from above was at that time a beautiful maiden who was 16 summers in her age. Creator had truly made a beautiful spirit in Angel from above. She understood the reality of things as they are in creation and had the ability to see through a person in a single glance. In other words, Angel from above could tell a person's nature just with one look at them. She knew that nothing happened by chance. If someone perchance gained her trust, it was well earned and true. If someone broke that trust with her, it was gone for good. Angel from above and Medicine Man had a simple marriage ceremony. Grandfather was there, for grandmother had taken the journey a few moons ago, and grandfather was given the honor of presenting the bride. This was the beginning of their family, for Creator soon blessed them with their first child. A son was born unto them. Another year had passed, and then a daughter was born. After another 1.5 years, another daughter was born, and finally, the third daughter, the last of their children, had come. Creator had blessed Angel from above and Medicine Man with 4 children in all. Medicine Man gave thanks for these gifts of life and blessed each child accordingly. 21 summers had passed in all. Life for this family has gone well. Their life experiences together as a family made them close and strong. Angel from above reminded her husband that in its right time, the experience of becoming grandparents themselves would come. Walking in the woods one fine day, Medicine Man heard bald eagle's piercing cry on the wind. It was early morning, the time when Medicine Man would finish his morning prayer. His heart skipped a beat when he heard bald eagle. The memory of his first vision quest came into remembrance. Bald eagle circled over him 4 times before landing. The message of bald eagle was this: Medicine Man was to make preparation for another trip to see Creator, who is the mother and father of us all, and Creator's son. Medicine Man thanked Bald Eagle for this message and then hurried home to Angel from above and his family to share this good news with them. With help from Angel from above, Medicine Man prepared himself for this next chapter in his life. With prayer, fasting, and a good sweat, Medicine Man was ready. Returning to the appointed spot where he received a vision of 4, Medicine Man heard Grandfather's words once more. An open heart always receives the greatest vision. Medicine Man uttered a prayer of thanks and faced the coming of the rising sun with great excitement. Breaking full over the horizon, the sun came. Along with this sunrise came Bald Eagle. He picked up Medicine Man from Mother Earth and they began their trip. Recognizing the path they were taking, Medicine Man knew they were returning to the great mountain. They came upon the snow-covered plain, which was still untouched. There were no tracks in the snow at all. At the point where the snow-covered plain ends, at the base of the great mountain, Medicine Man could see a path winding upward. This was the winding stair. The steps were hewn into the side of the great mountain, which ended at the entrance to the great cave. He saw Thunderbird and the other winged ones circling the great mountain. With great thunder and much lightning, they made their presence known as if to greet him. They were the appointed protectors of this place. Medicine Man silently wondered why there were no signs of others having been here. Bald Eagle spoke as if in answer to his silent thought. The way to the great mountain has always been open. Humankind and others choose to stay off this path. Only on occasions such as this has Creator sent me to bring yourself and the chosen few here. Having arrived, Bald Eagle dropped Medicine Man off at the entrance of the great cave. Medicine Man thanked Bald Eagle and then began to enter the cave. Removing his moccasins, Medicine Man uttered his prayer to Creator and their son. He gave thanks for angel from above, their children, and all that was good. He knew in his heart why Creator had allowed him to stand in their presence. "Welcome back," said Creator's son. He spoke as before to Medicine Man in his native tongue. Medicine Man saw Father Creator, the First Mother, and their son standing before him as they had long ago. Feeling the presence of the Great Spirit, Medicine Man remembered the words they spoke to him before. He knew that their true spiritual forms would be too great for him to behold in this world. Their power, glory, and love was great. "We have been expecting you," said Father Creator. His voice had the sound of running water in a small, steady stream over smooth rocks. It was much different than the voice of the First Mother or their son's voice. Medicine Man looked to the First Mother, and his heart melted as before, for she smiled at him. Her hair was long, flowing, and shimmering. Her eyes exuded warmth, understanding, and soulfulness. Creator's son came to Medicine Man and led him to the pool of water in the cave. The son's voice, which was like a resonating thunder in the distance, spoke. "You will see much in this pool of water. You must remember all that you were presented with, for your life is centered in all of this." Medicine Man acknowledged the son's words and began to peer into the pool of water. He saw the mirror of his face for a short moment, and then the images came. Medicine Man saw the medicine wheel in its entirety. Then he saw the Great Spirit consume the medicine wheel. Hearing the utterance from the Great Spirit, he saw the medicine wheel come apart into the 4 pieces. In the center of the medicine wheel, Medicine Man saw Creator, the Mother and Father of all. It is the origin, the beginning of all things, and the last. Mother Earth is also represented. The great circle of life surrounds all these parts and binds it all together. The Great Spirit makes another utterance, and the medicine wheel becomes whole once more. Looking to Creator's Son, he spoke. "This is the start of the vision you were given when you were 12. Look again into the pool of water." Medicine Man returned his gaze to the pool of water, which was without color. Suddenly, a tinge of black, which is one of the 4 colors of the medicine wheel, appeared at the pool's edge. Creator's Son spoke. See what becomes of the children of the black dust. It begins in their homeland and comes with them to Turtle Island, the homeland of the children of the brown dust. Medicine Man saw black men and women being bound by the white men. Other black men were helping these white men. The prisoners were kicking and screaming, fighting for their freedom. They were being loaded onto a ship. Many white men were scurrying about. Some used a hard black rope, which was linked together to keep these people prisoners. These images were frightening to behold. Medicine Man knew of these people in their homeland. What would cause this event to take place on Mother Earth amongst the humans? Asked Medicine Man. The white people you see are only a small group, but they have powerful weapons to help them get what they desire. They are like fire to dry grass. They consume and move quickly all over Mother Earth. These are the children of the blue dust. They have forgotten the circle of life and have chosen to remove the first mother from their teachings and history. They show no respect to Mother Earth, but destroying and taking more than is necessary for their own survival. Their sickness will affect all who come across their path, said Creator Sun. Looking back into the pool of water, Medicine Man saw that the previous image had cleared as well as the color. A yellowish tinge began to appear, and this is the image that was shown. A large cloud was mushrooming into the sky from the face of Mother Earth. He saw the force of the cloud race over the surface of Mother Earth, destroying everything in its path. He saw death and destruction left behind in the cloud's wake as if by fire, but there was no flame. What has happened between humankind to unleash such a force? Medicine Man wondered aloud. Medicine Man looked to Father Creator. Father Creator responded, "The children of the yellow dust will come across the big waters of the west, following the path of a thunder being, and attack the people in a place to be known as Pearl Harbor. Many people will die in this place, but even more will die from what follows. The mushroom cloud you saw will come from a man-made device. Humankind will learn many ways to kill and destroy life on Mother Earth. They will suffer at the hands of one another and their own. The place of the mushroom cloud is in the homeland of one tribe of the children of the yellow dust. Look again into the pool of water and watch." Medicine Man returned his attention to the pool of water, and this is what he saw as the water cleared and the tinge of blue appeared at its edges. There was a place with much smoke pouring into the sky from a building. There were white people pushing and shoving others into this building. Only a strong fire could produce such a smoke, and the sky was filled with this smoke. Medicine Man began to realize what was taking place in this image. The men, women, and children that were being shuffled into the building was the source of the smoke. They were all being thrown into the strong fire. Hearing their screams as they were being burned alive, Medicine Man knew that their journey of life on Mother Earth was ending here. Feeling sorrow for those who burned, Medicine Man began to weep. What would cause such madness, he asked aloud, looking to the First Mother. The First Mother, who is Mother Creator, responded with the following words: "The white people who are forcing them into the strong fire have been consumed by the spirits who embrace the energies of hate, jealousy, and greed. You have seen them in your other visions. You know of their power and the dangers they bring to those who listen to their influence. The talking leaves of the children of the blue dust, the scriptures, have been changed, misinterpreted, and will be changed to their will. The record they kept of our truth and the truth of our Son has been changed, lost, or destroyed because of the effects of these spirits upon the children of the blue dust. The circle of life has been broken for these people. My truth has been forgotten. Their places of worship have forever been poisoned by the spirit of religion. This is my truth. We are together as one. I am, has been, and still can be found in all of creation. In Mother Earth, Mother Nature, all mothers and grandmothers who truly love, my essence is there. It is a great gift, the ability to bring life, to show love, honor, and truth. See what comes next. Turning his gaze from the first mother, Medicine Man looks again into the pool of water, which is cleared and now shows the brownish tint at its edges. In this place there were white men in blue coats with weapons, riding on horses into a village. There were long knives at the ends of their weapons, which emitted the sound of thunder as they rode hard and fast into this village. It was early in the morning, and Medicine Man saw only the old ones, with women and children. All the warriors were on the hunt, getting fur and meat for the people. This village was preparing for the coming of winter. All signs given by Mother Earth and Mother Nature had showed these children of the brown dust that the coming winter will be a difficult one. Medicine Man recognized the area that this village was in. This was the area home to the Jalagi, the Cherokees. Storming into the village and setting fire to their homes, the Blue Coat Army fired their long guns and killed many. Even the children were being shot. Medicine Man heard the wailing cries of their mothers over the din that the soldiers was making. The sounds of death could be heard all around. The Bluecoats began to gather those who remained alive at the center of the village. Then they began to march these people from their village and their homes. The Cherokee had nothing except the clothes they were wearing. Seeing the bewilderment on their faces, while others appeared resolute, Medicine Man asked, "Why is this going to happen to the Cherokee?" Their land, the land that Creator had placed them in from the beginning, is being taken away from them by the children of the blue dust, the whiteskins. They have been infected by the energies of the spirits known as hate, jealousy, and greed. They will march the Cherokee at gunpoint to a land they designate as Indian Territory west of the Big Muddy River. The Cherokee will remember this event as the Trail of Tears. A great many of them will perish along this trail. As you can see, a hard winter is coming. Many events will take place on Turtle Island, which will have adverse effects on the children of the brown dust. For many generations, the descendants of the children of the brown dust have remained steadfast and true to most of the teachings given by their true grandparents. The great circle of life is strong in these children of the brown dust. They have always respected Mother Earth and Mother Nature, who come from the first mother. They take only what is necessary for their survival, and they give thanks. They know honor and respect. Much will change in the future, as creation, Mother Earth, and Mother Nature will suffer at the hands of humankind. Now you will see and experience events through the eyes of the children of the four colors, said Creator's Son. Medicine Man gazed into the pool of water. Instantly he was seeing through the eyes of a child of the black dust. Medicine Man felt the fear of this child as his own. He saw the father of this child being beaten and struck by white men in white robes with hoods over their faces. A burning cross without the circle of life was visible through the doorway of their home. A fatal blow was dealt to this father of this child, and he fell to the floor in death. The child of the black dust began to cry, as did Medicine Man. Immediately, Medicine Man's vision changed from black to yellow. He was back in the homeland of the Yellow tribe, known as Vietnam. This child of the yellow dust was being taken out of his home, along with his family, by the soldiers of their neighboring tribe. This child was being told to do something terrible, or these soldiers would kill his entire family. The soldiers strapped something to this child and instructed him to go into the camp of their enemies, who came from a place called the United States of America. This child of yellow dust was so scared and frightened for his family. Medicine Man could hear the sobbing cries, and he cried a river of tears. The pool of water quickly changed, and Medicine Man saw that he was in a beautiful place in a different land. This place was decorated in gold and silver, with windows that let plenty of sunlight in. When the sunlight came through certain windows, multicolored images could be seen with brilliance. The ceilings in this place were so high. Medicine Man saw the image of Creator Sun in a great window. Recognizing this place as a place of worship, Medicine Man heard the children singing beautiful songs. All of the people gathered in this place were the descendants of the children of the blue dust, the white people. Where is this place? Medicine Man asked Creator Sun. Creator Sun replied, "This is in the time when I came in human form, one of many here on Mother Earth. The thorn I gave to you when you were 12 summers old was from the crown of thorns they placed upon me when they crucified me. This place is in Rome. Watch and see through the eyes of a child of the blue dust in this place of worship." Bursting through the doors, the soldiers began to kill all who were gathered in this place. There was much blood being shed. He heard the screams of the other children as the soldiers killed them with their weapons. With hate and malice, the soldiers killed them all in this place of worship. Through the eyes of this child, Medicine Man saw blood everywhere. He saw mutilated bodies. He saw death and desecration. With tears filling his eyes, he saw this child of the blue dust slain by a soldier. Dropping to his knees with his eyes closed and his body reeling in great pain, Medicine Man cried and sobbed before Creator Sun. He knew that only one more color remained. Opening his eyes, Medicine Man saw that he was walking in a hard winter storm. He felt the cold, stinging wind on this child's body. It was the hard winter that had come for the Jollagee, the Cherokee. Looking to his mother, who carried his sibling in her arms, they stumbled through a snowdrift and fell. He saw the blue-coat soldier on his horse come upon them and heard him shouting at them to get up. There were many others around them who could no longer move on this trail. Hearing the thunderous sounds of the long guns, he saw some of the Cherokees moving to help the fallen. All that was left of themselves was their spirit. The blue coats and those that they represented were unable to take that from the Cherokee. This child of the brown dust looked to his mother, who was cradling his sibling on the cold, hard ground. Mother Earth had received the blood of the fallen, and its stain remained visible all around. In his heart, Medicine Man knew what was going to happen next. He saw the blue coat raise his long gun at the mother, take aim, and then the thunder sounded. He saw the smoke come out of the long gun, and the blood of the mother sprayed this child of the brown dust. She fell to Mother Earth, still holding her child in her arms. Hearing the soft whimpers of his sibling, this orphan child of the brown dust tenderly removed his sister from their mother's arms. Fighting back all the tears, the pain, and the sorrow he was feeling inside for the loss of his mother, he stayed strong for his sister. Being only children, they had no understanding of why the blue coat had killed their mother. At this very moment, however, the orphan child knew why the elders called this the Trail of Tears. Creator's Son began to speak after a moment of silence. You were wondering in your heart, who will be there to teach these children about the great circle of life? Who will help them to understand the truth? We are concerned for all. We have the greatest concern for the children. In the talking leaves of the people of the blue dust, the scriptures, some of my truth of my father and mother, as well as some other truth remains. A single commandment was given. Love one another as we have loved you. When humankind can get beyond themselves, then great and wonderful things can occur. The spirits of hate, jealousy, and greed will lose their power and influence if humankind chooses to make it so. Children will suffer greatly because of the adults in the future. Some of this has already begun in other parts of this world on Mother Earth. Childhood will grow shorter as time moves forward and much faster in its motion. I chose to come to Mother Earth at various times during the ages and take human form. There are others who had come as helpers to show the spirits who took human form on Mother Earth of possibilities. Humankind showed great promise in their beginning. However, they soon forgot that which is known in infancy and early childhood. In that stage of life, a child sees in truth and love. Each child understands trust. After the stage of innocence is past, children then learn what is shown around them from the behaviors, choices, and attitudes of the adults and their peers who surround them. Humankind's true grandparents, those 8 who were made in the 4 colors of the medicine wheel, were given all that was necessary in their beginning on Mother Earth. All were given the means and methods necessary to pass the truth on to their succeeding generations. Humankind is but a part of creation. Until each person can get beyond themselves in word and deed, great things remain unrealized for the growth of spirit. Love and honor will be overshadowed and miracles cease to exist. Everything comes to full circle. It is what each spirit does with the opportunities presented that will define them, either of light or darkness. All things come from my mother and father, who is creator. All things shall be returned to them. This is the great circle of life. Each color, represented in the teaching of our true grandparents, is simply a different point of view. As Creator's Son finished what he was saying, Medicine Man considered all that has been revealed to him. He gave thanks from deep within his heart to Creator the Great Spirit, and the Creator's Son for all they had given to him. He thought of angels from above and their children. He thought of those who had come into his life and shared their own personal experiences of the truth with him. He gave thanks for all these people and asked for a blessing for them. The First Mother spoke to Medicine Man once more. Humankind has great potential, both in light and darkness. Children have suffered greatly at the hands of adults. It occurs in each of the four colors of humans. Many great lessons of the Spirit can be learned from the children. It is time for the understanding of the truth to go forth once more. Time for this understanding to be remembered as a beginning and an end. Time for the great circle of life to become complete and whole in all things spiritual. 3 worlds have passed. This current 4th world is nearing its end. The 5th is set to begin. Humankind must lose the concept of separation and learn from the lessons by looking back through the previous worlds. Medicine Man took one last look into the pool of water. He saw only himself. He knew and understood that all it takes is one person, one spirit to make a difference in this world. If what he shares with others about Creator and Spirit world gets through to one other person, he had made a difference in the positive direction. He gave thanks once more and turned to leave the cave on the great mountain. Bald Eagle was waiting for him to return him to his chosen spot on Mother Earth. As they approached the spot where all this began, Medicine Man heard the First Mother say, "It is time." Pause that. Come on, remote. This story I had written while I was on the road driving. The awakening, as Rodney had mentioned, began in my late 30s. I grew up understanding and knowing Southern Baptist because Grandma and Grandpa had taken me to their church when I was a kid. They loaded us up on Sundays, and you'd hear the church bell ringing in the distance, bringing us all there. And like I said, my wife has always reminded me that God does things for reason and purpose. She has always been constantly reminding, in what I call her peanut gallery, Lauren Michelle, the youngest that Rodney had mentioned, had passed away, and the other daughter that remains with us here, Hillary, that did the artwork for the cover. I called them Angie's Peanut Gallery. They were always encouraging me to, quit being narrow focused, to open to the larger picture of things. And that's why I feel it with all my heart that children were sent to teach us. For Gray Eagle had mentioned it, and in a lot of these teachings of these elders that have presented before me, I hear it echoed as well. And I would mention real quickly that, Grace, I really got a blessing out of your message you did last week. The sharing of the eagle flying through the third eye, the condor and the eagle, and the ride on the buffalo and all of that. You echoed a lot of sentiments that my wife had been sharing as well, and I really enjoyed that, so thank you. And the time for understanding, you might have heard mentioned about the First Mother. This next part is more casual because what I'm going to do now is share the vision and the teachings that was mentioned in that story about our true grandparents. I'll begin with it here now. That was probably, I want to say 2005 roughly. I was still traveling nationwide with the trucking company I was working for. I can't remember what section of the U.S. I was in, but one night this dream had opened as I remembered it, and I'm recalling it right now. This dream, there was a guide on my arm, and we were in the spirit world. And in that place, the foliage, the energies, everything was just living and flowing and just livid. I mean, just absolutely spectacular. English language, like Gray Eagle had told me, he said, English language is limited for what others could just, describe it out of the spirit world. So anyhow, this guide was taking me in my human form to this primitive shelter in this bare spot amongst the forest that surrounded it. And it was a primitive shelter, much like you see at the powwow grounds, the 4 posts with the branches and leaves overhead, but she had like a little fence around with entries, but in the center under this was a table. And on this table, she had many artifacts, many tools, many accessories that she used to do her thing. But I didn't know what all this was about at that point. All I knew was I saw this shelter, the table, and then I saw this woman coming towards us as we were walking. And I was marveling at everything, and then I saw her coming towards us. And when I saw her, my human soul beheld a being that felt eternal and young at the same time. But when I looked at her hair, it was just long, flimmering and shimmering, much like a living crystal, I would call it. Quartz, see-through, I can't describe it properly, but it was just spectacular. And when I looked at her eyes was like pink and white flame, just brilliant and burning and sharp. But when I saw her face, it was just so soft. And her smile would just melt anyone's heart that saw her. And she come up towards us, and my guide stopped me, and she took me by the arm, and she says, walk with me. Walk with me. So I'm looking at her, and I'm walking with her, and we start going to this primitive shelter. And she stops me at the edge of this shelter. And she says, wait here. And she goes to this table that I saw. And in the center, I was looking at many things on that table. And she goes and picks up what looks like a handheld mirror, but it's like a plate of silver. And on this plate, there were etchings on it. And it was in writing that my human soul didn't recognize. But obviously, she knew what it was. So she looks at it, and she looks over there at me. And she just kind of gives a nod of approval and comes back over smiling. And as she approaches me in this vision, she brings up like a jumbo straw we have in drinks nowadays, but it's river cane. And with this river cane straw, she comes up to me and she begins to blow through this straw. And out of this straw came upon me pink and white flowers. Just oodles and oodles of pink and white flowers. And as they were falling, I could see my aura. And as those flowers fell, it became a dust. And it just started soaking into myself. Standing there like this, and she's blowing and blowing. I'm like, wow, just marveling at it. And it was a great feeling. And when she got done, she put the straw away. And I looked at her and I asked her, I said, if I may, I said, what was this thing that you have just done? And she said 2 things to me. She said, first, the path that you and your son will walk will be a great one. And the second thing she said, you are heading for a divorce. And immediately I was like, no, walk up out of that dream, because divorce, as you know, on the earth plane means a split, a division between a couple. And I knew that Angie was my godsend, my soulmate that Creator had sent. And I was just like, and I just vamoosed out of the dream. I had left that place. And I thought about it long and hard. So I went to see my Cheyenne friend, the one that provided the flute music you heard. Albert Gray Eagle is his name. And he's been a blessing as well. And I give thanks for the soul brother there, the brother of the spirit, as I call him, because he was born knowing Cheyenne is his first language. He grew up in tradition. He grew up in the ways of his ancestors, the indigenous ancestors. And we had met loading at a place in Shakopee, Minnesota. And we ran together one weekend hauling a load to Utah, Alabama. And I told him this dream, just like I explained it to you just now. He says, John. He starts laughing at me. He says, English language is so limited for what they would convey in the spirit world. I said, oh, really? And the reason I went to Al for this visit was that Al was born with the afterbirth over his eyes. And amongst the Cheyenne, it is taught to them that they have the gift of dream interpretation. And he had shared that with me. So I went to him and he gave me his interpretation. He says, she said divorce because you are getting ready to separate from what you once were, what you were to that point in that vision. You are becoming a new being, something else that you were meant to be, something true to the nature of who you are. I'm like, oh, so the light starts to come on there. And I thought about it, remembering the words. So I said, well, in my mind, this next step then, I'm going to consult with the holy men of the Cherokee people. So I went to see a medicine man. He's a full-blood Cherokee, and his family has been doing this practice long before the Trail of Tears took place. That's how far back his family had carried that work on. And I went to his home down there around Vienne, and I brought my son with me, Jonathan, the firstborn and the only that was mentioned that had passed away. And we sat with him in his living room, and I shared with him the same vision that I just shared with you all here today. And he sat back, and he says, this teaching comes directly from Creator. He says, this teaching is not anything that I or my ancestors who have done this before me have taught amongst the Cherokee. He said, this teaching comes directly from Creator. And looking back after I had left there, because I'll continue on with the remainder of it, I realized that the Spirit was channeling through him. Like I said, I'm new to a lot of all of this. I was a late bloomer, as I'm called, and I'm still learning just like the rest of us. And I really do give thanks to all the presenters that have come before me and those that will follow. But back to this medicine man, I shared with him the vision, and he started on this teaching. He said, this teaching is called our true grandparents. And he told me, shared it with me to my son. He says, in the beginning of all things, Creator made the first mother, and then the heavens and the stars, and then Creator made Mother Earth. And out of the dust of the four colors of the earth, Creator drew 8 humans, male and female, out of this dust on Mother Earth. Out of the brown dust came a female and a male. Out of a blue dust, which represents the pale face, the white people, male and female. Out of the yellow dust, the male and females. And out of the black dust, the male and female. And all 8 of these humans stood before Creator and their Son, without life, without spirit. And then Creator took of its spirit and its spittle and made all 8 humans living souls. And this was how humankind's beginnings had begun on this planet. And after these 8 stood before Creator and their Son and was given life, the gifts of the souls, Creator took them aside separately, the male and female. And Creator had given specific charge and duty to each group as they had communicated with them. Give them charges. Like, for instance, I came to understand later that the true grandparents of the brown dust, as I call them, they were given charge over taking care of Mother Earth and Mother Nature. For the Cheyenne had taught that Mother Nature was created to take care of her mother, who is Mother Earth. And so it went with the remaining colors. And then they were all brought back together, and they stood before Creator and their Son. And this is the point where the 12 commandments, directives, however you want to word it, however you want to put a note to it, they were divine directives, as I call them. And each one of these directives begins with the word respect. Number 1, respect Creator. Honor the mother and the father. Number 2, respect the spirit that Creator give to you. Number 3, respect the earth. Everything that is on, underneath, above, and around the earth. Respect the earth. Number 4, respect the air. Number 5, respect the water. Number 6, respect the brown circle which surrounds the earth. Number 7, respect the yellow circle which surrounds the earth. Number 8, respect the blue circle which surrounds the earth. Number 9, respect the black circle which surrounds the earth. 10 of these were given before me and my son that day. And it was after that point that I was sent forth to discern, to pray, to ask, to remember what the remaining 2 divine commandments were. And eventually, over time and passing, they did come forth. After much prayer, after much thought, number 11 turns out to be respect nature. It is present in all things. It is unseen, yet it is present in all things. We talk about Mother Nature, human nature, animal nature, things of that nature. It is unseen, yet is present in all things. And number 12 finally came forth, and it said, respect spirit world, for everything is connected. And the Son of God had echoed the same sentiment in the scriptures. What you loose on earth, you loose in heaven. What's loosed in heaven gets loosed on earth. There is no separation. So these 12 divine commandments, divine directives, like I said, however you would like to refer to them, were given. And after this point was all done, these charges and these 12 were given, each beginning with the word respect. Creator took each pair and placed them in their respective directions on the earth plane. The true grandparents of the blue dust went into the north. The true grandparents of the brown dust went to the east. The true grandparents of yellow dust went to the west. And the true grandparents of the black dust went to the south. And this is how humankind's beginning started on this planet. And while I was there with this person that day with my son, he had also reminded me. He says, when we take human form on this planet, he says, we're made up of 4 parts: the spirit, the soul, the mind, and the body. And I've heard this echoed among so many that's already presented, and it is true. And another point that is added, because I was thinking about this before bed last night, remembering that visit, he had told me that when you bring all 4 of these together properly, that the divine square would be formed, and out of this square would come a column of light. And we had left that day after viewing, hearing all this, and I got to view the door again at his home. It's an unfinished oak door. And in the grain of this wood was the image of the first mother, just like I had seen in the dream. And beneath her was the image of their son with the crown of thorns on his head. And beneath them was the father, who was in prayerful contemplation. That was in an unfinished oak door. It wasn't painted, it wasn't etched, it wasn't carved. It was an unfinished oak door cut from a piece of wood, a great oak tree. So that's how the teaching of our true grandparents had came forth. And after that point, I knew that my vision had been given, and that this was the beginning of many things that I was brought here to do. Like I said, my wife and her peanut gallery, as I call them, they were the encouragement and the source and inspiration, as well as granddaughter and many others, including Susan and Rodney, that I've met along the way. And many of you, I've met Connie before already, and I've met some of you at the Elders Gathering. And I was, like I said, I saw Grace's presentation last week, and I was truly blessed. But going forward now, this last segment, and after I finish this last segment, we'll go ahead and do a question and answer type thing, through Rodney there. But this last segment was something that had come to mind And it's really what I would call returning to the roots of our ancestors. But I'm going to get it ready here to read. And I'm debating whether to do the music with it, because I don't know if it had overpowered the reading or if it was done just right. But let me go ahead and just read this, what I had prepared. It says, we must change the outcome of our future as human beings by using concepts established by our ancestors, teaching our children these gifts of life from Creator to become proactive in thought, word, and deed. In the current day and age of humankind, we can see and relate as to how many families are challenged when it comes to raising their children. Many have had family members step in to help with daily activities, while others have had no choice as to who was available to help them in their everyday life. Some have actually come to rely on the schools and or churches, also known as religious organizations, to help in these matters with their children. The one key overriding factor in all of this hinges on the following question: who has time? Nowadays, most humans are lacking in the resource otherwise known as time. Humans simply have no time available and are always in a rush, always behind. Going down the road, I would see this every day. Cities, country, wherever I was at, phones up, speeding on down the road, taking chances and all. As humans, one must understand and know that humans are creatures of habit. We must also recognize that as humans, we are also reactive in our very own nature. And what I mean by this is that humankind reacts to any given stimuli, experience, consequence, decision, and or situations in their lives on a daily basis. This habit of humankind in the current day and age is obvious for all of us to see. No stones here, because I've fallen in that same thing many a time. In the old days and times of our indigenous ancestors, for example, the Plains tribes would prepare for the change of seasons leading into winter. The buffalo hunt would yield meat and hides, while the roots and berries gathered and stored would help add on to their inventory for the time when winter was in full swing. This type of preparation is known as proactive thinking and action. They had effectively listened to the signs given by Mother Earth and Mother Nature to prepare for the challenge to survive the winter weather. Proactive thinking translates into preparation for what lies ahead to continue with life. A human child is born. Creator sends forth the spirit, clothed in the soul, to walk the path on the earth plane. In the ways of our ancestors, regardless of the color of the dust on Mother Earth they were drawn from, these gifts of life from Creator, the children, were sent to teach these mothers, fathers, and grandparents. As these children grow, the family unit rooted their children in the family by living example, is what I would call it. For at this early age in human life, a child can be likened unto a sponge. As the child continues to grow, the concepts of the circle of life were introduced, also known as rites of passage, vision quests, and other means to prepare the child for survival as part of the great circle of life. When the child had reached adolescence, also known as puberty, which is a very challenging time in life, in human life, that child was rooted in themselves and their family to be able to move forward into adulthood. That child was given understanding by their parents and grandparents about why am I here and what is my purpose in life. They also had no fear of death and were understanding of the virtues of Creator, namely respect, honor, and love. In the current day and age of humankind, we are unable to fix or repair the ways, nature, and or habits of those humans beyond the age of adolescence. For daily, we can see that humankind has lost sight of their roots, becoming focused only on the self. Their speech is littered with the words I, me, myself. The adults have become as temper tantrum children themselves, showing by living example to their own children that it is acceptable to be as they are in word and deed. In order to change the outcome of our future as humans, we must change the mindset or habits from a reactive pattern. We must endeavor to change the mindset or habits into a proactive type of behavior. And this begins by embracing the ways of our indigenous ancestors in concept and adapt it accordingly to the current day and age. It begins in the womb, at birth, as a toddler, and every step of the way into adolescence, so that when our future, our children and grandchildren, the gifts of life that are sent by Creator, emerge from adolescence, they are still rooted to what many term as the good red road in the great circle of life, and it is so. It has been said by the helping spirits some time ago that the current decade of time on the earth plane, the year beginning 2020 through 2030, will be the hardest for humans. With climate change visible on Mother Earth and in Mother Nature, along with a raging pandemic, we are less than 2 years into this decade of time. We are all sent. We are all humans descended from our true grandparents, who were drawn out of the 4 colors of the dust on Mother Earth. We bleed, we breathe, we feel with our emotions, and experience life with our own perspectives. In the great circle of life, we shall return to the source, also known as the great mystery. The question remains, did one learn and understand the lessons as to why one was sent? That one is you, that one is me, and it is so. As the Cherokee speak, I will say Wado for your time this day, for being sent, for coming to this classroom, and for being human. It is my honor to come and present this piece of the puzzle and the teaching given in our true grandparents. Wado to Susan Stanton for extending the gracious invite to be here among such beings, and I look forward to what lays out before us all in the great circle of life. I dedicate this to my wife, Angela Glass, who is faithful and true. She gives so much of herself to us all as a family, a strong and beautiful woman, and I thank Creator for sending her. And on one last thing, I'm going to read something that my son, who has gone forward already to the spirit world, he wrote this many years back, and he showed it to me. I was with him a couple of nights before his passing. He was in his room, and he was having a hard time breathing. But let me read first what he had wrote, because I asked him back then, I said, may I keep this, and may I, use it in my stuff here? And he said, absolutely, go ahead. So here's what he had wrote. Revelations alight within the open mind. Inadequacy and insecurities are but the first step towards enlightenment. Evolve and let the demons have their place. If so, it is angels you'll create. Keep your spark to ignite the flame. And most important of all, remain true to yourself, who you are and what you were. because in the end, you answer to the consequences of your actions. I love you all. And that was by Jonathan Ray Glass. He had found his peace, and I saw it that night. He no longer refused to talk about death. His grandmother had gone long ago. He saw his sister go 11 months before him, and he saw how we reacted. He was so concerned for us both. I don't want to leave you and mother like this. And I told him, I said, son, I said, this is life. I said, you remember when I took you to see the Cherokee medicine man and what the vision of the first mother said? She said, the path that you and your son will walk will be great. I says, greatness by human standards, son, is measured differently. I says, I don't see her measured by their standards. I said, it wasn't dependent on what you did in this life, in material wealth, title, whatever. I said, it was great here. And I touched his heart, and I touched mine. I said, because you were sent to be my son. I said, and I'm proud of the individual you are, of who you've been and who you will continue to be. I said, so if you're waiting for your mother and I to tell you it's okay to go, I said, I'm telling you right now, son. I said, if it's your time, go in peace. He says, and he just lit up. His eyes showed it, his face, pain, everything disappeared. And I saw peace. I saw light. And he says, will I get to rest? And I said, absolutely, son. I said, there's no rest for the wicked. That's been said, and it's true. But I said, in your case, I said, chances are your sister and your granny are going to be there to walk you on in to find your way home so you can rest. And that peace was just so. And the very next night after he had passed, he showed himself in a dream to Angie, my wife. In the dream, she walked down the hall and she saw his room just bathed in the spiritual light of spirit world. Wasn't the light we have here on earth. And he was sitting in there, and she looked through the door, and he greeted her and smiled. And she says, son, she says, you don't have to do this. And him being the relationship we have with amongst us, he kind of went like this. He says, well, it's kind of late for that now. And he laughed. He made her laugh. But it gave her peace. It gave me peace. And it was good to see him in his form, because he was restored. His soul was restored. His pain was gone. His depression, everything that he had been experiencing. But on that note, before his passing, his significant other, who I'll name here as Stephanie, had given him that hope and peace before he left, because he was to move over to be with her and begin a life for his training in IT and computers. But obviously, his path was, directed differently. But she gave to him what I saw in his face that night, and I give thanks to her as well. So now I'll turn it back over to you, Rodney, for any questions and answers that any of you might have for us.
If anyone has any questions, you can simply unmute yourself and ask them directly of John. John, your strength is humbling me. You brought me to tears, brother.
Thank you. And yours has helped as well, Rodney, with what we shared the other day. It really has. Because I don't know how much...
John?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. No, I don't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry. It just came out.
Have at it.
I am in tears as well. Thank you, because I'm writing a lot and doing a painting of the first mother.
Okay.
And I would like to know, she comes to me all the time and I'm in tears. She's real. But I would like to know the name of your book, because I want to get the book that you wrote. That's so beautiful. What was the name? I missed that for some reason.
Yeah, well, the story itself is called Time for Understanding. And
Time
basic,
for understanding.
yeah, it's still a work in progress of coming together
Oh,
because,
you didn't put it out yet.
well, it was published in the Cherokee Anthology of short story collections, but it hasn't been combined as a whole setup overall because I have illustrations from Lauren, from Hillary, and there's 7 stories in all in one part of it that's part of the Medicine Man series, is what I call them. The other part
Okay.
is what I call the lessons stories. And in those stories, you might have heard the background music I was playing earlier by Albert Gray Eagle, the cedar flute.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Hmm.
Yes, there's Lesson of Love, which was the first one I wrote for Angie. The second one, and when I wrote that one, I did it as a gift for her because we had an anniversary coming up. And I asked Alice, may I use this particular song? He said, yeah, yeah. Tell me what you're going to write. And I told him. And I told him about the characters. And when I finally put it together and shared it with him, he says, yeah, just give me the music credit. And I said, okay. It was a duet that he had done with another individual on the flutes. And it was called Mistitled Cactus Blossom. But that Lesson of Love was a gift to Angie in the beginning. So the next story I wrote that followed that, and I do have these recorded on CDs. So if any
Oh,
of
you do. Good.
yeah, and if you would like any of these lesson stories that I'm talking about, I can get them
Yes.
to you, and I can get you a copy of that Time for Understanding, either by email or in print, whichever you would prefer. But like I said,
Yes, I really would like that. Yeah.
all of that is still a work in progress, basically. But the second one was called Lessons of Humanity, and that was where I looked at my wife, where she had been as a soul and a spirit. And what I incorporated into that story is in essence her story beyond this human life that she is in right now. And the music for it was called, the title track was called Look Beyond, that Al had played
Oh,
by
beautiful.
himself. And
Oh,
so our
beautiful.
friend out there in Tuttle, Oklahoma, his name's Roger Chancellor, bless his heart. He, yeah, I'll mix it for you. And he mixed it beautifully. But that, all of these lesson stories had come together. And the last one I had wrote is called Lesson of One. The central characters' names are Cactus Angel and Tumbleweed. And my wife had suggested this should become a children's book, which will
Oh,
probably
beautiful.
take place, yeah, in time. But I've got one more that I'm in the current process of writing, and it's called Lessons of Life. And it will incorporate the spirits of our children into the story, but it will still revolve around Cactus Angel and Tumbleweed. And it's basically the
Oh, beautiful.
story that will conclude those lesson stories. So any of you, would like copies to those audio CDs, I can get them out to you or email or whatever. Go ahead, Grace, when you guys are ready. I see a couple of hands going up there, but yeah, just
Yeah.
leave with Rodney and them email or contact, and I'll get some of the stuff as you request. I can be sure and get it.
Okay. And you could send me a printed copy of the story you read to us?
Yes, I can. I'd be
Oh,
happy.
thank you. Yeah, I'm working a lot with the children, and I worked with many elders here on teaching the children and being in talking circles and all kinds of beautiful things, and those are beautiful, what you're writing and your visions and your dreams, and talking about enough time, and everything was beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Too bad you can't make a book where you open the pages and it plays that song while you're reading it.
That's a good idea. Like I said, it's still a work in progress. So yeah, I'll
Well, let's see if we can do that. I would love that.
sky's the limit, as
Yeah.
they say, and we'll turn the imagination loose.
Yeah, what the heck? And maybe moving pictures, like, little videos in the book too, please. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. And I guess I should email Riverside in the email I have to ask for it and give my address. And
Yeah,
how
Rodney.
do I pay you? Oh, Rodney?
Yeah, he's giving you a thumbs up.
Yeah, just shoot an email to
Okay, how do I-
Invoices. Anybody that wants it, and I'll forward
Okay.
that to John.
Sure. And how do we send you some dollars for it? For
Everything
this?
that anyone gives today regarding this is given back to River Sidon Peace Project and Grandmother Circle the Earth.
Okay,
Names of our children,
perfect.
Jonathan and Lily.
Sure. Okay, so I can send a check that way. Okay,
Yeah, just
perfect. Thank you so very much.
and you can just forward it their way.
And one more just comment, you kept making me think, I love these lyrics by John Denver, Rhyme and Reason, on how the children will come and teach us.
Right.
They will come from the desert and lead us by the hand to teach us. I love that, those words. You're making me think of that. You had the same teachers as John Denver too, so, and others, not just him. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next question. Holly, Grace, I see your hands going up.
I was waiting for yes, ditto on. I would really love, Rodney. I'll email you. I'd love to have a copy of that. It was so beautiful, and I just want to thank you so much, Sean. Your being, it moves me deeply, and I certainly, I recognize you as a soul brother, and I'm just honored to be here. And just thank you so much for who you are and the path that you're walking and the strength that you emanate. I just wanted to say thank you.
It's my honor, Grace. Thank you. Anybody else out there? Because I'm not sure of our time clock here, Rodney, but
We got 3 minutes left, John.
okay. If there's no more, we can go ahead and proceed to a closing prayer whenever you're ready, Rodney.
All right. I want to thank you again, John. Seriously, you moved my heart so deeply. So I have children, and I would be broken. Father Sky, Mother Earth, all our ancestors, all our relatives, we thank you so much for once again allowing us to step inside this most sacred circle. Thank you, Creator, for giving us strength through our brother John, for showing us how to walk in a way that is so humbling to me as a man. I give so much love and praise to this man and his life and his work and his commitment to spirit and doing what is right and pleasing in your eyes. I'm so grateful for this circle. I'm so grateful for this time. I'm so grateful for the message that has impacted each and every one of our hearts. I pray we take these words and apply them to our life. I pray that we walk in a way, a changed way, a better way, a committed way to spirit, to you, and to walking in a way that is pleasing in your sight. We thank you for this day. We thank you for this time. Creator, I pray that you please embrace Bradley Stanton at this time. Please surround him with love as he's going through the loss of his friend. We thank you for this time. We thank you for this day. And with that, I say, aho.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. See everyone next Sunday.